Hello my friends, and as always, thank you so much for watching my video. Today I'm making a video in response to a question by at Steve Fisher 6585. Now he asked me a couple questions regarding the scope here, and I'm going to answer the easier ones first. First of all, he asked me, could you expand on the filament of the scope mount between L1, A1, British inch, and metric val? You mentioned that the DS Arms one seems to fit either. I am told that the original suit mount had tags at the back of the dust cover that had to be cut off to fit the metric val. Could you look into this? A tough call to mod an original mount which costs 250 pounds here. So he's from England. So first of all, what he's talking about, I believe, is going to be these little wings here, these little tabs at the back of the dust cover. Now you see them here on the mount, and as far as I know, this is all 100% original. And on my dust cover here for my rifle here, I'm going to open this up and I'll show you what that looks like as well. Okay, and it's going to be those little tabs right there. Okay, now besides the railing, of course, here as you can see right here, and the front, which hits, it goes just underneath or just above the bolt and inside right there. Those are the 3 points that make contact with, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and of course 5. Those are the contacts that keep the dust cover in place, and you can see the tabs right there, and they do extend farther out than the actual whole plate. You can see that, right? Now, before you start cutting anything, you need to check your rifle, because on both sides there should be these little slits or these little cuts, which actually is what holds on each side. It fits in here. So these little tags will fit inside these two spots inside here. Now, many years ago, I had another FAL, and that one was actually metric, and I didn't really know that. It was a DS Arms rifle, and this one here is actually an inch receiver. And as I mentioned in my other video of the fixed magazine, the dust cover that I bought from DS Arms didn't have this part here because it had rails for stripper clips, but it did have the wing tips on the back. However, that rifle was sold as a metric dust cover, so I thought metric rifle, and I have an inch pattern, but I took a chance and bought it, and it actually fit quite well, not an issue. And as I mentioned, many years ago I did have a metric rifle, and I did have a suit scope as well back then, and back then I didn't have a problem with matching anything. And so I guess there's a couple of parts here and there that can be interchangeable. It looks like to me the dust cover does fit, so I would not be cutting off anything until you check it out with the rifle. But like I said, my inch and metric dust cover seem to be perfectly fine. So don't be cutting off anything just yet. Okay, so another question he asked, I believe, was that he wanted a better view of how the scope mounts on the dust cover. And as I mentioned, the dust cover is far more difficult to find than the actual scope itself. So good luck with that one, my friend. So as I said before, this screw here, you need to release this one first, then you're able to move this one, and it gives you the up and down elevation. Once you've found the right spot, you tighten this screw up so that this one doesn't get loose from the vibration of the recoil. This one here works on the windage, which is the left and right. Okay, I'm going to see that a little bit better. This part here is for the 300 to then 600. Quick adjustment. So what you need to do, of course, is to raise this up, and it's a little bit difficult. It takes a little bit of muscle to pull it. Now, as you see, right there's resistance, but then there was a little bit more to go. But it's still not ready. There you go. So you have to, it should fall right off without any problem. So this little notch right here, okay, I hope you can see that little notch goes right behind this post right here. This little hook here goes behind that wire, and when you see how the wire kind of moves down and back also, okay, so hopefully, let me see, so we put that in there, right, and hopefully you'll be able to see the wire going over, and there you go. That's all you need to do. Okay, that's all it is. Okay, so now, I'm gonna do something that I really didn't want to do because it's a little bit complicated, but also he had asked me if I was ever gonna do a how-to video on the LED light here from a tritium. Tritium, of course, if I read correctly, it is radioactive. They are little bars, maybe something shaped like, something shaped like this, but they're illuminated. They're always glowing. There is no on and off, and they are particularly, as far as I remember, radioactive. And I don't know if they would ship that overseas to England, but I know that I did find a website that actually sells either the tritium or the LED version of this stuff. I've seen the tritium one on eBay. I showed it to you on the video of the last suit scope video. I just looked it up again today, and they're still for sale, but they're $109, so very expensive. And again, I don't know if they would ship that overseas, but you can always ask. And I just don't know the name of the company other than outside of eBay. I don't know the name of the company that I found that they sell some of this stuff, but it should be pretty easy to find. Now, unfortunately, I am 99% sure, 99.9, that's how sure I am, that you cannot convert a tritium into an LED. They are both, they look extremely similar, but they are different. The tritium one has a sort of like a bar that comes across here, and you sort of turn it. And the reason is that's how you turn, for lack of better words, turn on and off the light on the post of the scope. Okay, where the light comes in at the post, that's how you turn it on and off. For this one, you actually turn this little knob, and I'm going to show you all that, how that works inside. But first, what you do here is you can just yank it off. Okay, and this is what it looks like. Okay, this is the LED. The tritium one looks very, very similar, but it has a bar that goes across, and I don't think it has this extra long piece. It's smaller. Now, this little hole here, I'm going to turn this knob, which is nothing more than a screw, but I'm going to turn it, and you'll see. There you go. There's a light that came on. Okay. This is, of course, LED battery operated. The tritium is always on. Now, you see where this hole is, and you can see where you can put it in any direction. When you put that back on there, and you turn the light on, and you look through the scope and you can't see a light, that's because this hole, this particular hole with the LED light on it, needs to be sitting right above that little hole there with the disc. That little hole there, not this one and not this screw, but that little hole right there gives access to light that goes directly to the tip of the pointer. Okay, so when you put this back on, you turn the light on, and then you move it around. Oh, there it is, there it is. As you're looking through as you're looking through the scope, you can twist this around. Now, it's the same concept for the tritium, but like I said, it is different configuration than this. So the tritium, you put it back in, you put it in there, and when you, because the tritium is always glowing, you turn the knob, the whole thing, like this thing, you turn the whole thing, putting the tritium over that hole, which lights up the post tip. When you want it off, you put the tritium, you turn the tritium away from that hole. That's how that works. And that's why I am 99% sure that you cannot convert a tritium post or a tritium system to this, because the tritium does not have this knob here just to begin with, and it's long, it doesn't have this huge piece here. So we're going to open up this this little thing here, and we're going to show you what it looks like inside. Now, as you can see here, it's not 100% closed, which I don't really like. For me, I don't see myself ever using the light on it, but it's pretty cool to have it, and obviously altogether it should be worth a little bit more money if you ever want to sell it, because hey, it does work, so that's good. Even though this piece, of course, is broken, it still works. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and open up this this piece here, and what you're going to see, as I said in my other video, was me somewhat Mickey Mousing it. And I said, if anybody out there has an actual diagrams of how this was set up, I'll be your new best friend. Apparently nobody wants to be my friend. That's okay. I'm married, so I don't need friends. And I got 2 dogs, so I don't need friends. And we're going to take the screws off. And still, we're going to twist some more. Come on, I'm running out of things to say here. Gonna put on some elevator music. A little bit more. Real time, folks, real time. Okay, so now you see that spring already there, right? Okay, you see that. Now that spring that you see right there, you see that it's under this screw here, this knob. There's a reason for that. You see that? Okay, I'm going to show you this piece first. Okay, as you see, the screw is going to go in, it's going to come out, and it's going to go in. You see how it's coming in? Now I'm going to take it, I'm going to back it out. Okay, when you push, when it goes in, what it's doing is it's hitting this wire, this little wire, or the spring, with this little wire sticking out. And as it comes down, it makes contact with the battery. And what happens? Now, if there's no contact with the battery, it's off. Contact with the battery, it's off. It's off, okay? So that's basically, now if the spring touches it, same thing. But in any case, that's basically what's happening with that knob. Goes down, it pushes down on the spring. That little wire touches the top of the battery because the bottom of the batteries are sitting on top of that wire. And what are these wires? Well, these are what you call the leads, or the wires from the LED itself. One is sitting down, and experiment, before you start doing this, experiment which is positive and negative, because it'll show you. It'll show you. I didn't do it in my last video, but it'll show you when you put these two together. It'll show you. Now, this LED in particular requires 3 volts. Okay, so these 2 batteries are 3.1 volts. Okay, if you can find a 3-volt battery that'll fit in here, you'll be fine. Now, my other video gives you more detail on the battery. 389, because if I could find 1 battery, that'd be better, but I ended up using 2. My other video, like I said, has better detail as to the information on the battery and the LED packaging. I don't know where the heck they are anymore. I don't know what I did. So anyway, what I did here was I put in the LED light in there One lead I put in here. I tried to make a little bit of a groove so that it sits a little bit better. But then the other one, I put it in through here. Now the hole where this spring is sitting, and this spring was already there, okay, when I bought it. So it's part of the system. The spring is already in a hole which was also already there, and obviously part of the system. All I did was I made this part here a little bit bigger so that I can manipulate this wire lead from the LED in through that hole and out. Then I slipped in the spring over this little wire here, and then I bent the wire so that now when you put the batteries in there, right, as I showed you just a second ago, when you put the batteries in there, you've got this wire that's extended out. You push down on the knob, the on and off knob, and there you go. That's how that works. Okay, so when you put this back on, which I'm not going to do right now because it's too much fumbling, but when you put this back on, you're going to put that screw above the spring, and then of course you tighten it down, and you want it as off as possible because that's all it goes. And basically that's going to be it. Now I'm not going to tell you that's exactly how the original one was, but unfortunately that's all I've got. I had to, like I said, I had to somewhat Mickey Mouse it and figure it out this way, and it does work. Okay, it does work. But you have to decide for yourself if you want to do that. But if you can afford to buy the tritium, I would just go with the tritium. It's a bit easier than all this mumbo jumbo. But damn, it's expensive. Now here's another part. Here's another problem with this situation. This part here, this whole little system here, I think I mentioned, or I don't know if I mentioned, I have never seen this for sale on eBay, for example. I'm on eBay all the time. I can't tell you that I've ever seen this system for LED. Maybe it's on that website that I found, which of course I don't know the name of it. But if theirs works, go for it, because they'll have the battery and they'll have it in place. But if you ever open it up, be careful, because you got a little tiny spring in there, and you got some stuff in there that's going on that if you mess that up, good luck to you. So in any case, I hope that I was able to answer basically the 3 questions on the dust cover, on the little tabs, how to better mount the suit scope itself, because maybe there's better lighting this time, and of course how this whole LED system works, which again, unfortunately, you cannot, in my opinion, you cannot convert a tritium system to an LED system. Okay, so thank you very much, and hopefully this video was helpful.